Alright, we got another new chapter of the One Punch Man remake. This one is called Terrible Luck, which I imagine is Black Sperm's take on the matchup between him and Atomic Samurai. That Atomic Samurai has terrible luck to be facing him. It's my guess, but we could be moving on to other fights. We could be continuing the Homeless Emperor versus Zombie Man fight, which began in the last chapter. I don't know. I kind of feel like we're getting to the point where it's going to start jumping around a lot more and starting to show the fights like interfering and stuff. There's still so many amazing moments in this arc left that I don't really know when to expect them based on the changes in pacing. At any rate, a see-through Summerstorm of boundless green. We have a very fan-servicey picture of Tatsumaki because Murata just can't help himself. Alright, sure. Okay, so we are continuing with the Zombie Man fight, which I'm very excited about. We see in action his regeneration, which is kind of cool. It looks like, do you think this is like his face in this first panel on the top right? That you can see this like innermost little facial features? I don't know. Don't know the true nature of your rule-defying attacks that resemble magic. What is up with you? It's no joke, this monster is way too strong. Yeah, so Zombie Man, even though he was able to survive that attack, clearly knows that this kind of like magic, just like gigantic energy blasts out of nowhere for no reason, not from like a machine, not from, you know, some sort of lava breath, but just like, there you go, explosion, is not something that many people are equipped to fight. He knows that this person could rampage through a good chunk of the Hero Association. This is a prize. This is. I've heard a lot about you, Zombie Man. It's the unbodied buying. Isn't merely a figure of speech. Do you want to know the secret behind my life powers? Ooh, yes, I do. This is one of the moments that I am most excited to see in the Murata redraw. Just saying a lot. Is the scene where Zombie Man explains how he got his powers, the encounter with God. And oh, okay. I won't get ahead of myself. Because it seems like it's coming. Tell you I acquired this power. Till a month ago, I was living at the park day by day. Lost my job, kicked out by my landlord. I left human society behind and began living like a recluse. Recall being forced to dance naked in front of my boss at the welcome party for new recruits. Being fired the next day for sexual harassment. Tragic. And there's so many stories like this throughout One Punch Man. People that are like kind of cast out by society. Something clearly unjust has happened to them. And then it turns to this life of monstrosity. And quite often, we're kind of meant to be sympathetic towards these origin stories, at least I think. Like, looking back at like the Hammerheads, that early arc of people that wanted to live in like a post-work society that thought, you know, most labor was kind of meaningless and totally alienated from the worker and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, these guys have some good points. You know, I don't advocate terrorism to reach these ends, that's for sure, but it's definitely like a conversation we should be having about kind of the relationships between labor and self-identity. And then here, you know, this sort of thing does happen to people where they're just completely destroyed by upper management for no reason, just because maybe they're disliked. And they have no options. They literally have no options. It's like, do this or be fired. Oh, you did this? You're fired. It's not always as absurd as being forced to dance naked. An amazing panel. This sort of situation plays out every single day in various companies. When I stare into the sky, the hatred for my boss and other such things no longer seem to matter. The earth is greater than any man-made structure, and the sky is brighter than any man-made light. Humanity is but one insignificant existence on this great earth. My home is far grander than any mansion. It is this very earth. Ooh. Ooh. Now, isn't that lovely? This is such a lovely page, too. Just shots of the sky. You know it's him just lying down in the park, staring up at the sky, and having this epiphany. This moment of epiphany. Which, I mean, again, it's like, in this series, everything is kind of exaggerated. Everything is kind of like an iconic version of itself, a parody of itself. But I don't think we're supposed to see these sorts of things as insincere. I don't think we're supposed to just see them as like a joke version of an epiphany, but just like I think we're supposed to ask ourselves, like, well, why not? Like, what is actually wrong with this thinking? Oh, the birds, too. Just these birds had an epiphany. Abandoning the ecosystem Mother Earth had created, prospering under the self-made rules. Just how foolish are these self-centered humans? Cannot believe that the reality that I was stomped by such foolish beings. Ooh, and then this kind of network that we see on the top panel, that I think is supposed to kind of represent the ecosystem of Mother Earth. This like wonderful pattern that he's starting to sense among all living things and of the great ecosystem of the Earth. Could no longer bear it. Ooh, this is so well done. You know, again, like it's over the top, but isn't it compelling? Don't you think you could have seen these scenes, this dialogue in a completely serious series and engaged with it properly? The only way for my body and soul to escape this narrow, ugly, and foolish world fabricated by shallow human intelligence, the only way to return myself to nature and truly coexist with Mother Earth, was to die. That was the only choice. So he has a suicidal epiphany. And this is really, really haunting, the way this is depicted. I think this is so well done. And it's rare for Murata to get so abstract with paneling and with representation and stuff. You know, there's like lots of experiments in kind of like cinematography and stuff. Probably the craziest being still the whole meteor sequence of Metal Knight flying in. Just a masterpiece. But these like really kind of haunting, it's more kind of like art manga, I guess. Like the white dripping down over this kind of photorealistic shot of the Earth in space as suicide allegory, as like a visual representation of suicide. It's pretty chilling. It's really actually quite chilling, you know? The idea of like melting away, like all of your language, all of your thoughts melting away and just returning to the Earth. I don't know. It's quite powerful, I think. But what happens? What happens instead? Because clearly he's still alive. Right then, God appeared before me. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, look at this. Okay. It's more subtle than I expected. It's much more subtle. In the original webcomic, God is like this towering colossus. And it seems to be made up of the kind of weird, spongy, porous structure that like the monster cells kind of look like, and monsterized people seem to have aspects of them like elongating their bodies and stuff. It looked much more kind of like weird and organic, whereas this is like much more transcendental. It's like scribbly, you know? It's like it looks like it can only be conveyed through the technique of its drawing, not the technique of its actual substantiation in reality and the diegesis of the series, if that makes sense. Like, you look at this, and it's clearly like scribbles upon the page. It's clearly Murata. You can see like every single line he's drawn here. So what does it mean? You are correct. Humans are foolish, but you have no need to die. I will grant you power. What to do with this power, you should know. Awesome scanlation, by the way. This font, the block caps with this like kind of splattered effect and stuff. First off, it must have been hard to even put anything in and do all the redraws and stuff of these black text bubbles, but oh, this is cool. It really conveys like this kind of primeval sense. And I mean, I don't know. I don't really have any theories about what this god entity is. We'll hear Zombie Man talk about it in a few pages. Um, but I don't think my kind of speculating around this sort of transcendental role is that insane. Like these bubbles, these speech bubbles, are like painted, right? Like you can see brush strokes and you can see where it's left, and then it's surrounded by something that, I mean, it could be anything, but it really looks like ink splatter, and it's very easily explained by ink splatter. And this is why I think the font choice and the scanlations, again, shout out to all you guys, is so great, because it kind of conveys that same sort of splattered uh, mode of creation, you know? Something made physically, like the physicality of its drawing is being brought out. So, am I saying that this god figure is like an artist avatar, that it represents one and Murata's presence in this world? No, I'm not going to go quite that far. Nor do I think that this is ever going to turn into a story where they realize, oh, this is like a manga, like this isn't real or something like that. I don't think either of that is really in line. But I think it's like the powers that this thing is going to end up having, the way that it warps reality under its control, is going to be as if it was just redrawing everything, as if it was, you know, without going into these sort of fourth wall breaking things. I kind of feel like maybe it's going to have that feel, that it's something from like a pure essence of the world. In other words, I possess this divine power bestowed upon me by God. I am the chosen one, and the reason, of course, is because I know the answer. Foolish humans are a harmful existence to this planet, and the time has come for me to destroy all of its existence and civilization. Ooh. Cool. Like, I think this is so cool. I mean, okay, I'm gonna say something that's like on a tangent of being, I think, kind of offensive and unsympathetic, but it's quite often that homeless people are mentally ill, okay? And quite often they have pretty severe schizophrenia, where they think they're hallucinating voices telling them to do things, and quite often those will go along with delusions of grandeur, that those voices are God, that the things they're told to do are a holy quest by God, that they alone know some sort of fundamental truth about the world, and that God is telling them to do whatever they're doing to bring that truth about. This is very tragic. It's certainly not something that's like funny by itself. But the concept of a character where this is like actually true, that is kind of funny. Like that is, I don't know. I think that's kind of funny. That it actually, this one guy among all the homeless people that think God is talking to them, this one God is actually talking to them. This is bad. So why did you believe him to be God? Did he have ID? So I love this so much. First off, that Zombie Man is stalling for time. That Zombie Man's regenerative powers do have some limit, and that this one attack already pushed him close to the danger zone. So that he immediately knew, I need time for my body to fully regenerate, so I'm gonna like just try to stall as long as possible. That sort of thinking, that sort of like mid-battle tactics, I think is so cool and so like in this series quite unique to Zombie Man. But like everybody else would just try to just start fighting again immediately. And then his kind of line of questioning about this, because the other kind of half of a lot of plot lines in this series, I mean, this whole idea of like, oh, this one homeless man actually was contacted by God, I think is quite representative of a lot of the origin stories and stuff in One Punch Man, which is like kind of a joke or a subversion or something along these lines, and then it's usually just sort of hand waved away, right? Like it's like, oh, okay, well that kind of makes sense as a joke. So sure, yeah, you you were stuck in your mascot suit and humiliated, so then you become a real Phoenix. Yeah, you like ate crab every day, and now you're Crab Man. I don't know, whatever. So here, for Zombie Man to actually like investigate further this story, I think, again, is so unique to his character. And actually, you know, beyond just One Punch Man, it's very rare to see someone kind of grilling these concepts. And I just think it's so cool. Is that so? There's no need for you to believe in God. Enough chit-chat. To atone for your inflated arrogance, you will die and return to the planet. Meanwhile, of course, Saitama walking around the Monster Association, making his way. And I think people would be forgiven for thinking like, oh man, Zombie Man's in a pinch. Who can possibly beat this guy? Ah, Saitama will appear on the scene, and even the powers of God himself will be nothing in the face of the One Punch Man. But something even more exciting happens. According to Sonic Samurai's message, there's another imprisoned kid. Says, of course, handsome Sweet Mask, walking about carrying some part of a monster corpse. Battle will likely take longer than I imagined, in which case the scheduled magazine interview later today will probably be cancelled. Well, it's just how it goes. Moving filming has also been put on hold for my schedule later. He's like torturing this guy, I guess, to get directions. Just kill me already. This guy is like so bored. I think probably Sweet Mask has been talking about his like idol schedule this entire time, and this disembodied head is just like, I can't take this. I just don't give a shit. What's this? Ooh, they find the room that contains natural evil water? Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? I don't know. I don't know. I think natural evil water is just in like a fish tank. This looks much more elaborate. These devices are used to nurture monster cells collected from Lord Orochi. Have the power to turn humans into monsters. Ah, yes. So I kind of forgot about this. I mean, I didn't forget about the monster cells, but I didn't really consider about how this arc would have to resolve that plot line as well, right? Given that the original webcomic didn't have any of this monster cells business, I was quite curious. Well, sorry. I say I was quite curious, but actually I forgot that this would come up as well. These are the monster cells. To eliminate the Orochi in order to completely stop her production. Such vulgar inventions shouldn't be passed on to future generations. So, he's gonna pull Evangelion? I don't expect you kids to get this reference. There's a scene where a lot of stuff in a tank floating around like this dies. Orochi, not even the cadres can win. All rounder, gracefully defeat any opponent. Fear nothing. So Handsome Mask jumps in, destroys the tanks. This is much more intense than it was in Evangelion. An awesome shot though. The dynamicism of Murata's explosions really can't be overstated. Like, it would be so easy to just draw, like, right? or kind of like a more close-up perspective shot of Sweet Mask jumping down in the aftermath. There's like a million easy ways to frame this, but then to go out of your way to like show all of the pipes exploding, all of the tanks exploding, all of the broken glass, the water like rushing out, the bolts of lightning from like the electrical parts getting blown up, whatever. Like, yeah. See this second panel? This is what a lesser manga artist would do for the whole thing. And a much less cool version of that. At that, yeah. But, ooh, nice. Something over there. Ooh. Is it the Ugmon? Is this the terrible luck? We still haven't gotten to the terrible luck yet. But we know that the tactician Gyoro has tried to set up all the perfect matchups for the monsters. So really, almost every fight could be called terrible luck. Every chapter. But what's this coming? Yeah, found you. And this guy recognizes it. That voice, the cadres are here. It's over for you. Here it comes. Oh, come on. It's very fast. Extraordinary presence. Won't give away my upper hand easily. Throws the head as some sort of attack. This I feel is quite different from the webcomic. I mean, I've been exposed before when I try to remember what happens in the webcomic exactly. But in the webcomic, doesn't the Ugmon just kind of like walk up and be like, "Sup?" There's none of this like crazy bouncing off the walls, self-bullet attack. That just gets splatted. Look at the. Oh man, this is actually way cooler though, right? Because it establishes right away that the Ugmon is a threat, just after establishing how strong Sweet Mask is, and then this amazing shot of showing that it's like its crazy physical prowess, but also ripping its pants and seeing the underwear. Great movements. Fist fight, I have the confidence. Oh, but look at how ugly it is. Oh, this is so much fun. And it's like, I'm almost disappointed that I know, because they're doing such a great job of like trying to really tease out, right? Like you didn't see the face, but you saw the back of the head here. You saw the ripped pants. And then you're like, what is it that's so shocking? What is it so shocking that as soon as Handsome Mask saw it, I keep calling him either Sweet Mask or Handsome Mask. You know what I'm talking about. The worst. The worst, most terrible. What's the matter? You came here knowing it's the Monster Association hideout, so why are you acting so scared? Even I can't win against this one. Even the handsome, highly intelligent, capable, brave, mighty warrior worth 1,000 men, the perfect hero, handsomely masked Sweet Mask, cannot win this. Aren't you that idle hero? You're the hero I hate the most. In different ways, we both make girls scream. I'm gonna kill you. Looks and battle stats don't go hand in hand. It's a reality I will carve into that precious moneymaker face of yours, you handsome piece of shit. Its disaster level is dragon. It's the Führer ugly. Oh, I love it. Oh, what a great design. It's just really ugly. It hates pretty people. And it's like unbelievably strong. But it's just straightforward strong. Doesn't have any gimmicks. Doesn't transform. It's not huge. It's just a strong fighter. How intense. Alright, I can't wait for these fight scenes. They're gonna be absolutely crazy. Looking like Rufus. That's the closest thing I can think of. Street Fighter 4's Rufus. I can't wait to see Murata draw this guy in action. It's so different than all of the Garo fights. You can tell how much Murata likes drawing Garo fight. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Garo's great. But this is just going to be so different. I can't wait. He's really strong. Without a doubt, this guy is a type of Ugmon. Oh, man, I was so sure it was going to end with that page. But we're still going. Look at this drawing of the Ugmon. This is like, again, there's these moments where the one art style and the Murata art style just like, they meet in some glorious middle. Their looks cause various social problems, their hatred accumulates, eventually their hearts are swallowed by darkness, and they turn into monsters. The Ugmon. Their strength after turning into monsters is influenced by the hideousness of their hearts. Unwinnable. When I witness extreme ugliness, my entire body starts shaking, and I can no longer move. Okay. So here's this picture from the webcomic of him actually looking at the sky was just replaced by a full page of the sky. Yeah, you know what? I kind of miss the shot of him lying on the slide. I think that's a real classic shot. In general, I thought the flashback would be more elaborate. I guess in the original, it's just the shot of him looking at the sky, and then the one panel where he's like tiny and the gigantic colossus of God towering over him. But now God has been redesigned. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't expect a lot more, because of course they still want to keep it very mysterious, which I like. What a great chapter that was. Oh man, I'm getting excited for this arc. It's like every fight scene that I know is coming, I'm just so hyped to see in Murata art. And then on top of that, there's probably like half a dozen fight scenes that I don't even know are coming, that are going to be brand new for the remake. Oh, okay, all right. let's let's look forward to the next one. I don't know when it'll be, but you can guarantee that I'm gonna read it ASAP. Okay, bye.